Hey guys, this is John Hockaday, and today we're kicking off a series of short videos of recent acquisitions that we've had over some just the very last few months and some maybe in the last couple of years. But these are all agents that were ready to be done. They were ready to retire or move on to whatever the next chapter in their life is. And we thought what would be helpful was just to do a little interview with them and get their feedback, like what they're doing now, but more importantly, kind of what their thinking was, what their thought process was as they came up to the stage in their career where they were ready to explore selling their book. If you think even right now that this could be you, this fits your scenario, that yeah, I think this is my last AEP that I'm going to go through. I'm ready to start at least exploring what the next steps might look like. I would really encourage you, and I would really appreciate it if you would give us a call now, and we just kind of start the conversation, because it usually takes a little while, and it can save us and you a lot of time rather than waiting till January or February before we start the conversation. There's zero pressure. I mean, zero. But if you think it's you, call us and let's you and I have a conversation, and then if it does end up that the timing is right for you, we can really hustle and be ready to close on your book right away as soon as we can in 2024. So hope that helps. And I hope you enjoy these. And if you got any questions, just don't hesitate to call us, okay? Okay, this next clip is on Dan McBrayer's book. Dan's an agent out of Carrollton, Georgia. Has a great book, long-standing business. All these customers are local and knows them all, good friends. And this has really been a great book for us. And I know Dan's been really, really pleased too with the outcome.
I started business in late 1976 when I was in the seventh grade. And I started out selling life insurance with New England Mutual.
Yeah.
And in the 80s, I went independent and I sold a lot of group insurance that morphed into a lot of individual policies. And then, I don't know, 10 years ago, I started selling Medicare supplements. And the last few years before I sold out to you, I'd say that was about 75% of my business. I still sold life insurance. Mm-hmm. At the time I sold this to you, I was 71. I was a sole practitioner, had hundreds of clients, and I realized that it was probably time for me to scale back and not go through the hassle of another open enrollment with all the things you have to do. And of course, since that time, they put in all these extra regulations like recording the call and all this other stuff and all these disclaimers you're supposed to say. And so what I was looking for was some type of compensation for that business, which y'all were able. I thought it was a fair price, what we settled on. But the most important thing to me was to find somebody that was honest and would be willing to take care of the customers that I had sold a policy to. Yeah. And so far in the year and a half, I haven't had anybody call me up and chew me out for selling the business to you all. I have had a couple of people that didn't want to drive several hundred miles to get to your office to talk face to face. But y'all done a good job of servicing that book of business. Mm-hmm. And it's a hard decision to decide that you want to do this. But once I did it, I felt like it was the best thing to do. Yeah. I think more and more agents, as they get older, are going to realize that, well, wait a minute, you should look at this. And you need to find a firm that is honest, that's easy to do business with, like you all are, and that will take care of your book of business. And so for me, this has worked out really well. And so I'm glad that I did it.
Man, I really appreciate all the kind words, and you really explained that so well. And that where you're at is just exactly where most of the people that we talk to are that are they're your age. They've had a great run, they've had a great career, they were able to provide for their families well. I mean, Dan had a really nice book. You had a little I don't know if it was little or not, I never saw it, but you had an office too, an office building in your town. But people were used to, I mean, I could just picture it. It's a fixture in that town. They're used to coming in, they've been coming in for years and years and years to see them. And at the beginning when we started doing this, a business like that kind of made me nervous because I knew how conditioned people were to come in to see you, come into your physical place. And I knew I wasn't going to buy a building there or, have brick and mortar there. But what we've come to find out is if you got an agent who really cares about their customers and that customer agent relationship is really strong, they trust him, they trust Dan. So when Dan makes a recommendation that, hey, I've really been thinking about this, I checked these guys out really good, I think they're going to do a good job for you, they trust him. And so he's like passing the wand off to us, the torch or whatever you want to call it, to take care of those customers. And that's, like you said, the most important thing to you was you wanted to get a good deal, but you want to make sure your customers were really taken care of. And for us, when we're taking over those customers, when they got a good agent to take it from, it's a real easy transition for us, a lot smoother.
One other thing, if you're thinking about selling your book of business, you need to at least have an agreement with somebody, because God forbid you could be riding home and get hit by the log truck and you're not there, and your wife probably doesn't know what to do with all that. And if something's not done in about 30 days, all that business reverts back to the companies and your surviving spouse gets nothing.
Well said. You're in time.
So you need to sit down and think things through, talk to people, and y'all's process was pretty easy. And and once you decide to do it, it's not necessarily, well, I think I could have gotten $50,000 more. You need to deal with somebody that's going to take care of your customers.
Yeah,
that's worth a lot more than money.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And you got a beautiful book. I mean, a really nice size, a lot of customers. So, what are you doing now, man? We'll wrap it up. What's going on?
Well, I still have life insurance customers, and I'm not doing that much business. I'll be 73 in January, and I moved everything home, which is still kind of a mess upstairs. And I sold the building I was in about the same time I sold the book of business.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I sold it to some exterminators. And I was glad to sell it to an ongoing business, and they do termite and bug control. And but for a while there, I missed getting in the car. It took about 10 minutes to drive to work, and then all of a sudden you weren't doing that. But I tell you, I have to go up 16 steps to get to my office, and when it's 40 degrees outside and pouring down rain, it's a whole lot easier to do that than it is to get in the car and get out in the cold and drive in the rain.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about getting out of this, I certainly would recommend your firm to take a look at and see what they can do for you.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Hey, really appreciate the call, Dan. Glad you're doing so good. We'll keep in touch. All right.
Take care.
Really appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.